How's it going, everybody? C-RadTV back here in our video. So, of course, it's time for another Detroit Lions 2025 NFL Draft Preview. So, in the last draft preview, we wrapped up the day 2 portions of the draft previews by taking a look at the top defensive back and safety prospects in rounds 2 and 3 of the draft class. And in this video, we're gonna start the day 3 portions of the draft by taking a look at the top day 3 quarterback prospects for rounds 4 through 7 of the 2025 NFL Draft. Since day 3 of the draft is a very crucial part of the draft, because this is where the depth of your roster is really built in these rounds here. So to have the depth in case shit hits the fan, literally and metaphorically. And of course, quarterback's been an interesting topic for the Lions throughout this offseason with Hendon Hooker's future up in the air. Does he stay as the backup to Goff? Does he get traded? Because he's been in the midst of a lot of trade rumors, but nothing has materialized, and he's still on the Lions. So it might be something to keep an eye on, as maybe the Lions will look at possibly maybe getting a QB to groom behind Jared Goff in the future if they end up deciding to replace Goff in a couple years from now. But anyway, let's take a look at some of these quarterback prospects and see who the Lions should possibly keep an eye on for this draft class. So the first QB we're going to go over here, hailing out of Texas, standing 6'2", weighing 210 pounds, we got Quinn Ewers. So for Quinn's strengths, he keeps his eyes up, stays searching for options when he feels pressure in the pocket, attacks the middle field, vertical throws with a sense of aggression, won't shy away from window throws, plays with steady feet, won't throw from shoddy platforms without reason, displayed more arm adjustability, and he changed his angles to deal with pressure more often in 2024. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he looked out of sync, delayed his throws against Texas A&M this year, if you want to watch the tape there. Physical tools are below average, makes life difficult for him when his receivers are outmatched. Arguably was outplayed by Arch Manning when he missed time due to his injury. Lack of a rushing threat allows defenses to play him easier than most other modern QBs. Lack of ferocity is a problem as he has to line up and crank the ball to get it downfield. He's also been listed as a player that could disappoint in this draft class because he was an early NIL darling that bounced from Ohio State to Texas. And he comes from a big name program, but without the measurables, a big arm to write his own ticket in the NFL. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to free agent QB Kyle Lauletta. Overall, a lot of things to like out of his game. Does a lot of things right in the pocket, but just not really a mobile QB, as that seems to be the new theme as mobile QBs have become the new norm. And just a few things, though, especially when pressure gets to him, But even though we've seen some QBs not have some physical measurable tools for the NFL, and somehow that doesn't matter. So the question with him is, will it matter or not? That's the real question. But maybe someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Ohio State, standing 6'4", weighing 235 pounds, we got Will Howard. So for Will's strengths, he has the size and physicality needed to move people and win in short yardage situations. Could feasibly convert to tight end if QB fails. Confident runner, can be trusted to pick up yards on his own. Passing ability shines when he's allowed to run play action. Can set up for downfield throws. Played well within the confines of the Ohio State offense. Operated the system effectively all the way to a national championship. And he's also been listed as one of the top sleeper picks of this draft class because he's responded to NFL coaching under Chip Kelly well, and then will win over scouts at size and physicality. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he has a tall and lanky frame, which leads to a longer release than most QBs. Takes a while to set his feet, gets situated prior to the throw. Elite surrounding talent made life a lot easier for him, played a big role in his production jump. He gets a bit too eager with getting out of pocket when he doesn't quickly see an opening to throw. Lacks the type of arm talent needed to deliver with accuracy, velocity on the move. Late to recognize breaking defenders, will get undercut by aggressive zone corners as a result. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, when you're getting compared to a QB like Justin Herbert, you're doing something right, that's for sure. Overall, a lot of things to like out of Will's game. Does a lot of things right. And he has to respond to money, and he could end up doing well if he's under the right coaching staff in the right situation. And that's the real thing to how a QB can thrive in this league. It's not about talent or all that. It's about, does he end up in the right situation at the right time in the right place? And I think under the right leadership with Campbell and company, maybe Detroit could be the right place for Will Howard at the right time. Maybe someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Notre Dame, standing 6'4", weight 212 pounds, we got Riley Leonard. So for Riley's strengths, easy glider in space, can cover a ton of ground once he gets rolling. One of the most athletically gifted QBs in college football. Looks like a potential high-end starter for spurts during the 2022 season. Has the wheels to avoid pressure once he senses it. Toughest nose player, will play through injury and mental adversity. Terms his weaknesses, though, his career is pinball back and forth according to Bismo 2023. That look fitting for a camp body. Relying on his legs right now, falls apart when he has to strictly work from the pocket. Run first QB, accuracy falls off a cliff when he's forced to throw under pressure with unsettled feet. Clear weather passer, can't find his way through storms. Falls away from throws, loses all momentum control. Releases slow and late. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to John Reese Plumlee of the Seattle Seahawks. Overall, a lot of things to like out of his game. Very tough. Will play through injury, have great mental adversity. Can play through that. Does a lot of things right. Maybe someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here. Hailing out of Indiana, standing 6'5", weighing 223 pounds, we got Curtis Work. So in terms of Curtis's strengths, quick to read across the field, make decisions, very tight in his lower body, has a hard time stepping into throws, plays with plenty of composure for a QB that can't use his legs much, leads his receivers well, pulls them out of traffic, able to give deep shots enough to arc to drop them into the bucket, displayed a decent feel for his surroundings against Nebraska if you won't watch the tape there, knew when to step up to evade pressure, winning resume, roll and turn around Indiana's program, it'll be a positive point for some scouts. In terms of his weaknesses, though, injuries are a major concern. He played a portion of 2024 with a brace on his right knee. Hasn't been the same athlete since he hurt his knee at 2022. Seems severely hampered in terms of maneuverability, so it may have hampered his speed and all that, and made him less of a scrambler. He jumps into throws, plays messy with his footwork on a snap-to-snap basis. Extremely limited downfield passer, can't win vertically due to his platform issues. In terms of his pro comparison, he's been compared to James Morgan, who plays for the Montreal Alouettes in the CFL. So overall, a lot of things to like out of Curtis's game. Does a lot of things right, can read across the field, does that right, but his mobility was very hampered by the knee and leg injury suffered in 2022. So that could raise some red flags. I think it would be a gamble taking Curtis for sure. So the next player we're going to go over here, hailing out of Syracuse, standing 6'3", weighing 221 pounds, we got Kyle McCord. So for Kyle, he's your prototype intangibles QB because he stood tall in a prove-it year and after exiting Ohio State, and he opened a lot of eyes for his performance at the East-West Shrine game. In terms of strengths, excellent peripheral awareness allows him to evade pressure, can find exit lanes when the pocket breaks down, expertly navigates the pocket, can find throwing lanes that most college QBs can't. Able to adjust his passing arc, can drop throws over defensive backs when he works down the field. Mental game's NFL caliber, even if his tools aren't the greatest in the world. In terms of his weaknesses, though, marginal arm strength keeps him limited at the pro level. Doesn't have the necessary juice to hit tight windows downfield. Clunky, uncomfortable lower body when he's forced off his throwing pattern. Constantly drops his eyes once pressure arrives, but rely too heavily on his legs. His slow wind up and gives defensive backs a ton of time to identify his target. Turnovers were a large issue in 2024. His risk tolerance exceeded what some coaches will want. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Michael Pratt of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So overall, a lot of things to like out of him. Has great awareness, can find exit lanes to make throws some QBs can't. But, in college, he turned the ball over a lot because he played fuck the ball too goddamn much. So maybe someone to keep an eye on if he can keep the turnovers down to a minimum and not become Jameis Winston 2.0. And the final quarterback, the final player we're going to talk about inside this video, we have hailing out of Louisville, standing 6'5", weighing 224 pounds, we got Tyler Saw. So for Tyler's strength, throws a clean spiral, good velocity when he works from the pocket. Footwork's crisp, polished when he has the time to set up and deliver. Deep intermediate passing, had some impressive flashes in the upset win over Clemson if you want to watch some tape there. Peak makes him look like a developmental starting caliber QB. Terms his weaknesses, though, constantly fades away from throws, relies on his arm talent rather than his lower body mechanics. Comes with a ton of medical luggage that teams will have to explore. Had only 1 full year of starting experience without having a season cut short. Accuracy runs hot and cold. Some drives being precise, others being chaotic as all hell. Ball placement falls off the cliff when he has to throw on the move. In terms of his NFL comparison, he's been compared to free agent quarterback Jacob Eason. So overall, a lot of things to like out of his game. Has the potential to be a starter in the league, but, health history and, being pretty inconsistent play. Where one moment he looks good, next moment he looks like ass. So, if he can be more consistent and stay healthy, maybe someone that could be groomed into a starter one day. But yeah, that'll wrap it up for this NFL draft preview video for the Lions. So overall, quite a few interesting QBs to keep an eye on. Are any of them a better option than Hendon Hooker? Only time will tell there. It really depends. I mean, you never really know until you give somebody a shot. But, time will tell there. But definitely some interesting prospects to keep an eye on. But I'm not 100% sure if we're going to end up with the QB. Like, we might be rolling with Hendon Hooker, because if the Lions were going to trade Hendon Hooker, they would have probably done that a few weeks ago to a QB-needy team. But a lot of those spots are already filled because the Giants, they just signed Russell Wilson earlier today. And they're probably going to look at that QB at number 3. Cleveland, they got Kirk Cousins. Well, it's tough to see what happens at Cleveland, actually. They don't got Kirk Cousins, actually. Cleveland can go a lot of different ways, even though they did get Kenny Pickett since Deshaun Cosby's out for the year again. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But, definitely some names to keep an eye on if the Lions decide to go draft a QB in this draft class. Of course, that wraps up for this one. So, of course, for the Day 3 draft previews, we're going over every single position class in this for Day 3. So, all positions will be addressed. So, in the next draft preview, we'll be taking a look at some running back prospects to keep an eye on for Day 3 of the draft class. To see who are some running back names to keep an eye on. Not only for, maybe to be a blocker, but maybe someone for special teams too. But anyway, that'll wrap it up for this. I'll see you all whatever I make next. I'm out.